All right. Well, like to my Convergence family, just welcome. I have a friend that I wanted to bring today, Mr. John Lawson, a wonderful, wonderful artist. And I met John several years ago. I saw his work in a show, and it just so happens that we have a mutual friend, and I was able to then enlist him in doing a show for a nonprofit that I was a part of for many years here in my hometown of Wilton, Connecticut. And so, John, I want to welcome you to this space. It's just a delight to be able to see you, even though I don't get to see you in person, to see you on Facebook, and you're still creating and doing wonderful work. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here, excited to be here, and I just think it's so wonderful when artists can encourage other artists. So
Yes.
I'm just overjoyed to be
Well,
here.
that's what we love about this Convergence family. And so why don't you just give us an idea? Just tell us about, what does a day in the artist life of John Lawson look like?
A day in the life of John Lawson. Well, first it starts off with prayer.
Oh,
It starts with prayer in the morning, my consecration, reading the scripture and praying and just tuning in to God's direction for the day. And then I pray for sensitivity and consciousness of the things around me, where that inspiration is going to come from. If there is a piece of work that I'm doing at the time and I'm collecting elements, um, those elements can come from anywhere. A background, a texture, a color, a design. Those are the things. Even though I do have a 9 to 5 where I do art therapy for a company called CPM. And I work with the disabled, the emotional and physical disabled, and I go through a curriculum of art therapy for them. But then it's time to do my own projects, and so that could be anything from a portrait to a mural to a personal piece or a personal or particular direction of art that I'm going into.
okay. So tell us, and I'll be showing some of your pieces, but what what is it that you're looking for when you're out there, like collecting this information or being inspired? What is it that you find pulls you in?
It's really God, because John, what is that? First John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him. So, as an artist, if I'm going to represent things in my work, I have a consciousness of knowing that God is in every single thing that I see. Pers- uh, 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 Especially in people. When I draw people, I'm really drawing God,
Hmm.
and the God in me is uh, uh, in a relationship with that person that I'm drawing. Um, so there's always a gratitude that I have this gift given to me by God, and I'm able to search God out in another person. And so, to the best of my ability, I try to capture that person, their personality, what mood they're in. Um, of course, the image. I'm a realist, so I'm trying to, of course, capture the likeness of that person. But it's all a engaging God, even though that is an individual in front of me, or a picture. It's the God in that person that draws me in. That's what thrills me. That's what excites me. That's what drives me.
That's beautiful. And I definitely see that in your work. I want to, Lisa, do I have the ability to share?
Should
Okay. All right. Let me
give it a shot.
pull this up. All right. Let me get to this. So tell us about this piece.
You don't
First of all,
see-
can everybody see it? Okay.
I was excited about doing two males. Um, you, I don't see a lot of male imagery today, so I was excited to do two males, and these males are bonding. Um, this is actually my two nephews. They
Oh.
are my sister's children. Alan Senior, no, Alan Junior. I'm sorry, and Alton. This is um, his nephew, and he is my nephew.
Wonderful.
And they are sitting by a pool. And I like minimalism. I don't like a lot of things going on in my background because I want you to focus on the individuals and just their love for each other. The way he holds his nephew, he's pouring. He's an example. He he nurtures him. He protects him. He guides him. And of course, water is always a symbol of spirit. So God is present even in their bonding and even in that relationship.
You know, it's interesting that you were saying you don't see a lot of the males in a lot of the paintings. And what, you know, being a mom of three boys, and I have one son who's into photography, and I remember when he did his thesis, it was on this exact same thing. And his desire to not only show black male images of black males in a nurturing posture, because, and what he says, he really wants to make sure he's changing that narrative for what ends up happening, what we see on the media and other places, the fact that our black men are portrayed as nurturers and loving and all of that. And I always got that in your work, and not knowing that that was an intentional thing that you were doing, but I see that in your work.
I definitely agree with his message. That is a message that is very important to me. I know what the media portrays for the public, but I know what I see and what I
Exactly.
experience. And this is something that I experience and it's real to me. And I want other people to know that this exists in our culture. It's a part of our culture. It has always been very important to us to bond with one another, and it's a reality.
That is so. That is so. I love this. This reminds me of my mom, or just the beautiful light and so forth. So talk to us about this beautiful piece, John.
Well, there's definitely a story behind this. This woman, her name is Sally Warren. When I was 13 years old, we left North Carolina and we came to Newburgh, New York. My father was supposed to meet us there. My father never came. My mother was stranded with 6 kids there in Newburgh, New York. She had a notebook with names in it. And in this notebook was, my mother was an evangelist. So in this notebook was a church that she knew was in Newburgh, New York. We went to that church. This was one of the women that was at that church, and she opened her house to
Wow.
my family. And I'm the third of 6 kids. 3 of us went with Sally, and the other 3 went with another member of the church. But we went to stay with her, and we separated. We stayed with her for a year, and we separated because we came to Stamford, Connecticut, and we separated. I don't think I think it was in 2020 when we would reunite with her.
Oh,
And when we reunited with her, we took pictures, and we took a picture of her. And this is the piece that I did from the picture that we took after we reunited with her several years later. So that's a very special piece for me.
it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Okay. This is a protege of mine. And I had some classes that I taught at the Innovation Center here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and this was one of my students. Again, he was a protege, and Caravaggio is a big influence for me, and I wanted to do something coming out of the darkness using chiaroscuro and coming into the light. So this is my tribute to Caravaggio.
Beautiful piece. Absolutely beautiful.
Okay, this
Love this.
all 3 of those pictures, well, except for Sally, again, the male image, went to a gathering in North Carolina, and this gentleman was there. And there was a photographer at that event. She took the photograph of the gentleman. He was cooking on the grill, so the elements there on the table, I put them in. They weren't there. I put them in because I wanted a spiritual a spiritual elements to be a part of this piece. So you see the bread, you see the grapes, and you see the pitcher, and he's cutting the fruit. So this really is about the sacrifice. It's about the sanctification and about the bread of life. the water of life, all about Christ. So this is that's what that piece is all about.
I love that, in that you took the ordinary and then you added this spiritual component to it that is so beautiful and universal.
Yes.
In that, here's a man, and he is basically preparing life, sustenance for others, and here that's Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
You don't see, what I love about it is that message is there, but you don't see the church on the hill. You don't see the cross in the background. Everything is right there for us who have eyes to see.
It's not in your face.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
This is a coworker. Had to be at least about 8 years ago. This young lady, we worked together, and I asked her if I could do her portrait, and she consented. And this is the piece that I did. She was looking for herself. She was trying to find herself. She was very insecure about who she was, and about her gifts and about her purpose. And this is what came out of that relationship that I had with her.
Wow.
Her name is Christina.
Beautiful. This is our last piece.
Okay, this is my oldest brother. This is my oldest brother. I did a piece of him. This is fairly recent, maybe a couple of years ago. I did this of him.
Beautiful piece. So what are you working on now?
I have a couple of portraits to do. I got a commission to do from a ministry here in Bridgeport of the pastor and one of the workers. I'm working on that now, but I'm excited about a piece that I'm getting ready to do, an oil painting. It's going to be at least 50 by 50. And the theme is prayer. The theme is prayer. And you're going to see this male. You're going to see him in space. He's going to be in space. You're going to see this. You're going to see his thighs. And you're going to see the world underneath him. And in his thighs, in the thighs, you're going to see images of people. Praying.
Nice.
They're praying.
Yes.
And of course, the theme is that we should always pray and not faint.
Pray without ceasing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I can say definitely, that piece came to me in my sleep. Never, out of all the pieces you've seen, I've never had that happen to me before. Never. And I wanted it to happen. I wanted it because I've always questioned God. How do I use my work to glorify the kingdom, to build the kingdom? I want people to be able to see God in my work.
Yes.
So you're very, it sets you on edge because you're careful about what you do. You're careful how you do it. And you want to be sensitive. In order to do that, I would think that a person would have to be sensitive to the voice of God because you don't know how God is going to speak to you. You don't know how he's going to lead. So you're walking on this. It's not a tightrope. It's not a tightrope because there's no discomfort. There's no anxiety about that. You're at peace, but you live this kind of life. You're listening. You're sensitive. You're conscious because he's going to do what you ask. And just this is April. My birthday was in March. The 27th was my birthday.
Okay, happy belated birthday. You just had a birthday.
I just had a birthday. But that image came to me in March, that image. And I just secured some space in Shelton, Connecticut.
Wonderful.
Because I work from my studio here at home, but I need space. I need space to do this work. So I just signed the lease to the space today, and I'm excited to create that piece.
That's great, John. So will this be your largest piece?
It will be my largest piece.
Awesome. That it sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. What I also love too is that this has been something you've been praying for God to be able to give you, to download and give you image, so that and now just after you turn, I don't know, just after you turn 16, he did that.
69. I'm proud. 69.
It's encouraging because I know you've been painting for a long time, and so that we should never give up and never, God's timing is it just is so perfect. And so now, as you had mentioned, you're entering into that retired space, and now being able to get this. I think this is awesome.
Well, some people would say, well, why now? Well, it's because during my youth, I'm committed to ministry. God is first. Nothing eclipses God, God's work, ministry, people, lives being changed. Nothing eclipses that. No gift, no talent, no ability can be placed before the will of God, the purpose
Amen.
of God, the reason why we're here. So putting that first, now that I'm entering into my seasoned season.
Yes, I like that. Your seasoned season. Yes.
Yes. Now God says, okay, it's time.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
do this. And this is why this is happening right now.
Awesome.
It's like I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started.
That is so cool. That is great. That is great. Well, I would like, this is a conversation.
Mhm.
And so I would love to open it up. If any of you have a question or a comment or something that you would want to add to this conversation, please, by all means, feel free to jump in. Okay. Vic, are you? Okay, go ahead, Rita.
Can you show the images again? I'd love to see them again. Can we see those again?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Thank you.
Well, I'll jump in real quick. I love your work, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I love the fact, John, that you are very subtle with what you have to say is very powerful. You're not hitting anyone over the head. You're inviting someone in softly, just like our Lord does. He softly draws us in. He's not overt or loud or obnoxious. And I love it when I see Christian art that avoids all of those things. I particularly loved the first piece with the nephews and the subtle way in which the water, they're looking at spirit, they're looking at the spirit, and the shadow is falling behind on the hard surface. And the older young man is so wrapping the young child in his arms. The young child's got his hand on the ground, and they're looking forward to spiritual things. And all of the tiny details you put in your work that are very subtle and yet very, very spiritual. And as you said, if you're looking, you see it. And if you're not looking, it's so beautiful and so interesting. It's going to pull you in and invite you to ask an important question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any comment that you'd like to make from her statement? John?
She's right on point. She's right on point. And it's so wonderful to get other perspectives of what you do. And I think so much of what we do, even we so many times are not aware of everything. There's no way we can be aware of everything. We just do it. And to know that others can appreciate and celebrate those things that we do is just wonderful. Thank you for that.
I have a question for you. In terms of your community involvement with art, I saw not too long ago where you had hosted an event where people were coming, and you had the event where people were painting in the community, and then this idea of community murals. Can you talk to us about that?
I really haven't. I do paint parties. I do
Okay.
paint parties where the community comes in, and of course, then I get to incorporate those paint events with the music. I bring in soloists. I bring in musicians, and just this past weekend, my quartet group provided the music for a paint party because it was a church gathering that attended that paint party. But it's not just to the church; it's to whosoever will, whatever their musical tastes are, whether it's jazz or whether it's hip hop or whether it's R&B. We try to provide that kind of atmosphere and climate for them at the paint party. I have not done a mural in the community as of yet, but I'm sure that will come.
Well, that's something that we're going to be working on in Keys. I'm hoping that you will help me in Bridgeport with that program that we're doing for the kids. We provide free music lessons to children in Bridgeport, and so we have our new space. So
definitely,
yeah,
love to be a part of that.
Yeah, we want to get some community artists involved with that. So I'm gonna stop this. So who else has a question? Cornelia?
Yeah, I was curious about your last comment. No, a comment that you made just toward the end of your talk about why you begun art making more recently, and you said something about like ministry for God or something is the most important beyond any talents or whatever. So that left me a little bit confused. Are you saying that ministry through art is secondary to a more typical form of ministry? I wasn't sure what you were saying there.
What I'm saying is that many times when you're called to serve in ministry, many times you have to leave what you're doing.
Right.
It's an ideal thing to be able to continue doing certain things and be used in service at the same time. But Paul's transition, he's persecuting the church, the Christians. He has to stop doing that, make an about face, and then God sends him in the right direction. And he totally changes Paul's priorities and changes his goals. So what I'm saying is that when I was called into ministry, the requirements of ministry, I could not do art, pursue art, and perform that service at the same time. I had to make a choice. And I chose ministry. Trusting God that God gave me those gifts and that God would satisfy me in those gifts, and I would be able to. I didn't know how it would happen. I didn't know the particulars, but I just knew He would satisfy that part of me because I loved it so much, and He gave it to me, and He gave me the love for it. But when He called me into ministry and service, those duties was my priority, and nothing interfered with those priorities.
Okay. Yeah, that's good, because I just because I feel like as Christians, we often think the main ways we can serve God wholeheartedly is through ministry or through missionary work. And some of us are waking up to that we can serve God wholeheartedly as artists.
Yes, you can.
That serving God as artists is our ministry. So I hear that you really felt called to the ministry, and
Yes.
as a result, you couldn't give what you needed to your art. So you trusted God to bring it back.
Yes,
That's kind of different from saying ministry is the be all end all and everybody wants to serve God should go that direction.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just checking.
I wish I could have I could have served Him through my art at that time, and that's what I would do. But the circumstances, I had to do a lot.
Yeah.
There was a very heavy weight of responsibilities and duties, and I could not perform them and pursue the art at the same time.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, John, I have a somewhat similar story in that I left, you know, and have made the choice many times to not be acting and to focus instead on this ministry to artists. And I just your story, I think about we're talking a lot about calling lately and looking at the calling stories in the Bible and how God frequently takes people from one place all the way to someplace else, and it's everything in between that makes that those calling moments possible. And I just think about your work, and technically I think it's incredible. I think it's beautiful, but there is something that you are imbuing these images with that is, I don't know. I'm not a painter, so I don't understand it, but I see the love. Like I feel it. That first image of the two young men, like, just makes me want to cry. As soon as I saw it, like, my heart melted. And I think there's probably something of that pastoral experience, as meaningful as that is and was for what God was doing at the time, also in you, that God was doing something in you that then became an enhancement of this gift of art making, that you are able to step into that in a way that maybe you couldn't before, having had all of this experience in that pastoral ministry. And I just, we were talking earlier, and you were talking about thinking, how do I use my art for God? And I think you are, those images, that is, you're showing the love of Christ. And I just think having those images show up in front of people is so rare that it to illuminate that this is reality, that is so vital. So I just want to affirm that it hits really hard in that way. And I think that God has really prepared you to do this form of ministry, and it's just folding in everything. I don't think there's chapters here. I think it's just an unfolding of all the different pieces into something else. It's just really incredible.
Well, I don't think that we're here at this point in time seeing what you saw. Your social consciousness, your political consciousness, the consciousness of what's going on in the environment, what's going on in the schools. There's a reason why we see this. There's a reason why we're here at this point in time, seeing what we see and having the reality of faith in our lives. We're able to see it, but at the same time, it does not deter us. It doesn't distract us from our purpose, why we are here. And there's something that we must do. And we're searching that out. And that is my prayer for all of us, that we're sensitive and we become conscious of that thing that only we can do. Only we can do it. And we do it the way God has infused it in our lives.
John, when I first came across your work years ago, what Lisa was talking about, and this is when I invited you to speak with us. You and I our conversations have always been brief, very rich, but brief, and there was this connection, but it was your artwork that I recognized. You didn't have to tell me that you were a believer. The work spoke for itself. I really want to tell you that. This is the first time we've had this level of conversation.
It is.
And so when I saw your work years ago, I knew there was something more going on than just, what I was looking at. I saw the light of love in your work that let me, it spoke to me, and it let me know that there was something far more going on than just a guy who was painting. There was more in that work than, you know,
Mhm.
that meets the eye here. So
Well, I'm so thankful for that.
it really, really does do that.
It's not something that I could do within myself. It has to be something that only God could do.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or comments that someone may have for John before we wrap this up?
Well,
I have-
just one comment, John, on what you just said. When you're in his will, it's intuitive. You don't even have to think about what you're doing because he's in control. So, and you'd said that sometimes people tell you something you hadn't even thought of. You don't even have to worry about it.
That's so true.
Yes,
So
yes.
true. And Joanna, I'm sorry, John, did you want to respond to that comment?
No.
Okay. Joanna, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I have a brief question. Thank you for sharing your work. I can see you love those people that you paint. Yeah, and I especially like the composition you arranged. The structure and composition is very interesting, very special. How you arrange their just the structure, the composition of the painting. How do you want to briefly talk about that?
Sure. As I said before, and that's always an ongoing pursuit for me. I would think as well as other artists, you want to find the right design. You want to find your voice in the design. I think that's the best way I can put it. Um, I want the design to be my voice to the viewer. I want them to see certain things. So as I said, I like minimum. I like space in my pieces, and I don't like. I use the word clutter because some painters and there's nothing wrong with having objects and filling the plane, but the other a person said before is subtle. I'm speaking very subtly. I'm not bashing anyone over the head, but I do want you to see certain things. And in order to do that, you don't need a lot of voices. You don't need a lot of stuff. It needs to be kind of clean and pure and subtle. That's my mindset. So I'm always trying to find a way to get that across
Very nice.
through the design
Very nice.
composition. Mhm. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Can I Oh, so you go first, Patrice.
Yeah, thank you for two or three things. Number one, I'm a writer, storyteller type things. Every time I'm in the academic space and have been there forever, and people are always asking me my theory of art making, which frustrates me as a writer, because you have theorists. Those are the people that go get the MAs in English and then they critique what I do. So I always said to people, it's inputs and outputs, and that's my theory. Like, I live life, things come in, and when I sit down, or when I'm compelled to sit down to write or perform whatever piece, stuff comes out because of what's in. And I never think to say to people, the reason why it's Christian art is because I am a Christian. I've been saying that to people in this doctor ministry program every week. I am a Christian. I'm not pretending to be a Christian. But so thank you for keeping it simple with the theoretical stuff. Number two, thank you for reminding me that over the years, my words have become simpler. And I'm more interested in drawing out of people their stories and telling them their stories, so to speak. And that's helpful in this moment because I'm writing a Bible study with a group of women who are from all walks of life. And they're like, the last conversation we had, they're worried about how much they give to people. Whereas my study, God is asking me to create space for people
Yes.
to sit with the word of God. And so just thank you for reminding me that it's really not about me. It's just about causing people to pause long enough to find their story within God's story. So thank you.
You are so welcome.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And Cornelia?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on the paint and what I noticed very much is the beautiful color, the beautiful sense of color. Like like Adrienne said it's really subtle, but the colors glow and they're deeply saturated, so they're very rich, but they're soft. And I was thinking about the quality of light on the work, and I was thinking how to describe it. It's like the light is just sort of sitting softly on these bodies and giving illumination to the form that's there. But I realize it really is like a loving light that is falling on these people, and it feels like the way you painted that, it's a loving light, and so it just brings out this beauty and color and glow. Yeah, I just thought it was very beautiful the way you used the paint.
Well, I think I definitely should tell you that all of those pieces that you saw are pastels.
I forgot to mention that.
They are not oils. But
Yeah.
the piece that I told you that I received from the Lord, that is going to be oil. That is going to be
Wow.
Yeah.
that is going to be
Well,
oil.
the way you use pastels is really
Yeah.
painterly and beautiful.
Yeah. And I want to also mention, you know, Cornelia, when you talk about that light, that beautiful light and how it rests and sits there, what is also amazing, because I've seen some of the other pieces with children at the beach and, you know, near water. But what's also amazing is what John does is you see the light within. You see the light within the, you know, so when he talks about that image of God, you see the light within his pieces. And I see it most with the pieces of the children. When there's something that you do when I see children and I see their faces with your pieces, that even the way they hold their heads, they don't have to be looking right at me. If they're looking down, I still see the light within. And it's really beautiful. So anyway.
Thank you.
Well, John, this has been great. It's been great for me because, you know, now I really get to spend a lot of time with you, and I'll have to talk to our friend Jeanette, and we will have to get together. And you know, this has been a wonderful, wonderful time introducing you to our Convergence community, and we hope that you come back and join us, and especially when you get that piece finished.
Yes.
We want to see it.
Okay, I promise. That's gonna
Thank you.
That's gonna happen.
Thank you.
And I will be back.
And you will be back.
Yes.
Please do.